Hey guys, Tammy here, and today we're going to talk about being the person the judge wants you to be. Okay. Now, I know we're all ourselves, and I know that you can't totally morph into someone else, but you can understand what the court wants from you, what kind of behavior they want from you. So, I'm going to share a couple tips on that. As always, if you like this content, you find it helpful, please click like on this video and also subscribe to my channel so that you get notified as new videos are released. And please share on social media to help other people find me and get the help and support that they need. I'm going to start this one with a little story. So Thomas had a client one time, a gentleman that they went to court. They had trial. The guy shows up in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops. Now, we're in Southern California, and I know we're a little cash about things here compared to a lot of other places, but the courtroom is not the place to be cash, even if that's your style, right? And so Thomas said to him, dude, why are you in t-shirt and flip-flops for trial? And the guy said, hey, Thomas, I gotta be me. And Thomas said, just for today, don't be you, be me. And he pointed to himself wearing his, suit and tie and the whole thing. You have to understand that, presentation is part of it, right? When you go into the courtroom and, we always tell people dress like you're going to church, or dress like you're going to work. If you have kind of a little more of a white collar type job, something like that. For guys, at least a nice button down, and dress pants of some kind. If you're a female, a nice blouse, something like what I'm wearing, preferably not red. I don't think red's a good color for court. Some sort of slacks, not denim or whatever, and look nice, present nice, because we have to keep in mind judges are they went to law school, they're lawyers, attorneys, they run in that formal environment. It's very funny because I went somewhere the other day that was it wasn't a courthouse, but it was kind of I guess it was an office building, an attorney's office or whatever. And so I went in and it just sort of like I had almost forgotten, right? Because I don't have that with Thomas anymore. I work out of home primarily, and we don't have like a formal office that we go to really anymore or anything. I do go meet clients occasionally. I have a conference room I use in our old office building, but I'm just not in that environment every day, right? On a day-to-day, I'm usually at home for me personally. And so just going back over and being in that environment, I was kind of reminded of kind of the more formality of law firms and law practice and courts and all that kind of stuff. And I think it can be real easy, especially if you are a person that kind of has a more hands-on or physical labor job, or, you're some sort of admin or daycare worker or server or, all these different kind of things where we're just not kind of in that formal environment every day. Half the days I'm sitting home, I could wear my sweats and be on the phone, right? Nobody would know. When I record a video, of course, you guys know, then I have to look different. But anyway, the point is that just, being in that environment kind of reminds you of, oh, this is the world these people run in. It's kind of like if we go into a party where it's like, wealthier people or less wealthy people, or the opposite of whatever we're used to, whether you have money and you go in somewhere where they don't, or that you don't have money and you go in somewhere where they do, or whatever the environment is. It's like, it reminds you of like, oh yeah, this is how this environment is. And so you have to adapt yourself when you're going into a courtroom for that court's environment and be who the judicial officer wants you to be, who the judge wants you to be, and who does the judge really want you to be. Not that they don't want you to be yourself, but they want you to do a few things. They want you to be respectful, right? And that's what your dress is about. The way you dress, it conveys respect to the court for what they're doing. You knowing the procedures, knowing when to talk and when not to talk is a part of conveying that respect for the court and the system. Being organized, if you're self-represented, understanding the procedure of when you talk, when the other person talks, not talking too long or too much or whatever. Knowing what's expected of you in that environment. They also don't want you to be emotional. Now, I know that's so hard for so many of us because this is our family, right? This is our children. Sometimes it's our babies that we're talking about and that we're having to leave and send with the other parent. And that can just be gut-wrenching, right? It can be really tough to be in that situation. And I'm not saying you can always be completely non-emotional. I think sometimes when people get teary or show emotions in a certain regard in court, it's helpful. It gives you a human quality. It helps the court understand, that you have feelings, that you're a human being. But if that emotion is coming through in sort of an aggressive way, or the judge, as in the judge doesn't know what they're talking about, or you're kind of being attacking in that way or attacking the other side, or if you're the type of person that has a really strong personality or halting speech, it's real important to educate yourself on what that needs to look like. And that's why observing the court, can be really helpful. I mean, even take, I'm from Kentucky. That's where I grew up. If you're from Kentucky and you're watching me, shout out. But, that's where I grew up. Well, I'm in California now. Very different culture. Very, very different. So if I went in places behaving the way I behaved in Kentucky, it might not. I think we're a little more laid back. Well, California is laid back in kind of a casual kind of way. I think Kentucky's more laid back in sort of a friendly kind of way. You speak to everybody. You know a lot of people. You grow up in smaller places. You just kind of know everybody. Go to the grocery store here in California, and it's not unusual for nobody to speak to me at all while I'm in there, right? It's just not that kind of thing. People are busy. There's a lot of people. There's high population. You just don't really interact with people on the same kind of level that I would back home. So it's just different. It's not that one's better, worse, whatever. It's just different. And so understanding your environment and understanding who the judge wants you to be in the courtroom. And so how they want you to conduct yourself. And even if you have an attorney, I have seen situations where clients will pipe up and, want to say something or want to talk or want to, whatever. Thomas had a case a few years ago where he was, the judge was like nodding their head yes, and things were going really well. He was making his argument. I was in the courtroom actually when this happened, and it was like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then the client asked to say something. And then the client started talking. The judge started kind of like, she stopped shaking her head and she kind of like dropped it a little. And then she subsequently ruled against the client and ruled for the other side. So, Thomas always called that snatching the jaws of, the snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, right? Where it was going really well. And then all of a sudden you bombed it, and part of what she did is if she had more understanding of the courtroom and the process, she would have realized that clients don't usually speak when they have an attorney. You usually leave that to them. And when you do speak, you make it real short and succinct. You don't say anything elaborate. There's all these things about, again, being the person the judge wants you to be and showing that deference to the court. So that is very, very important that you educate yourself on that and that you understand what is expected of you. And if you need help with that, you can learn more about my coaching services by going to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page. You can book a free 15-minute call to speak with one of my staff, learn more about my coaching services, and share some of your story so that we can learn how we might be able to support you on this journey. See you guys next time.
We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the